The air in the legal office was cold, smelling of stale coffee and expensive cologne. My husband, Mark, sat across from me with a smugness that turned my stomach. 10 years of marriage were being reduced to a single, insulting number, $20,000. That was the price of a decade spent building his dreams while I sacrificed mine. Beside him, his new girlfriend, half my age and twice as vapid, played with her designer bag. I felt a tremor of pure, unadulterated despair. I had nothing left except a crumpled, stained napkin in my pocket, the last thing my grandma Rose ever gave me. I stood up, my chair screeching against the floor, and whispered, "You think you've won, Mark? You have no idea what's in this napkin. To understand why that napkin mattered, you have to understand the man Mark had become. We met when we were 23, full of stars and ambition. But Mark's ambition was a parasite. For 10 years, I worked 2 jobs to fund his tech startups, which he claimed were always just one pivot away from $1 billion. Every time I asked about our savings, he'd gaslight me, telling me I didn't understand finance or that I was being emotionally unstable. He made me feel small, like a minor character in the epic movie of his life. I believed him until the day I found the first hidden hotel receipt. 3 months before the divorce papers hit my desk, Grandma Rose passed away. She was the only one who saw through Mark's sparkle. In her final days, she was frail, her mind slipping in and out of the present. One afternoon, she grabbed my wrist with surprising strength. "He's a hollow man, Sarah," she'd whispered. She reached into her nightstand and pulled out a cookie she'd saved from her last batch and a napkin. "The secret isn't just in the sugar, it's in the crumbs he leaves behind." At the time, I thought it was just the dementia talking. I tucked the napkin away, grieving and broken. Back in the conference room, I smoothed out the napkin. Mark chuckled. "What is that, Sarah? A recipe for oatmeal cookies? You're going to need it since you won't be able to afford store-bought soon." The lawyers looked uncomfortable. I ignored him and read the back of the napkin. It wasn't just a recipe for her famous snickerdoodles. Grandma, in her confused state, had been a fly on the wall during Mark's many business calls in her guest room. She had meticulously written down names, dates, and account numbers, codes for a Cayman project Mark had whispered about while he thought she was sleeping. I leaned over the table and slid the napkin toward Mark's lead attorney. Mark's smirk didn't just fade, it evaporated. He turned a shade of gras I didn't know human skin could achieve. "Grandma Rose might have been old," I said, my voice finally steady, "but she was a bookkeeper for 40 years before she retired. She knew a shell company when she heard one described over a speakerphone." The room went silent. Mark's attorney squinted at the scribbles, his face hardening. He looked at Mark, then back at me. The $20,000 offer was suddenly, legally, dead. The audit that followed was a bloodbath. Grandma's cookie recipe was a roadmap to $3 million Mark had siphoned from his failed startups into offshore accounts. He had been planning his exit strategy for years, intentionally keeping me in the dark so he could leave me with nothing while he sailed into the sunset with his new life. But Grandma's sharp ears and her habit of writing everything down had created a paper trail the IRS would later call miraculous. Every loss, he claimed, was revealed as a transfer. Every debt was a lie. 6 months later, we were back in that same office. This time, the atmosphere was different. Mark looked 10 years older, his expensive suit hanging off a frame weakened by stress and impending legal consequences. The girlfriend was long gone, having fled the moment the bank accounts were frozen. I sat there, not with anger, but with a profound sense of peace. The new settlement didn't just give me half. It gave me the house, the true value of the stolen investments, and the dignity Mark tried so hard to steal. I signed the papers with Grandma's favorite pen. I didn't just take the money and hide. I opened Rose's Secret, a bakery and community center for women going through difficult transitions. Every Wednesday, we hold financial literacy workshops in the back room. In the front, we sell those famous cookies. I kept the original napkin. It's framed behind the counter. It serves as a reminder that the truth has a way of rising, much like dough, and that the people who think they are the smuttest in the room are often the ones blinded by their own greed. The story of Grandma Rose's cookie isn't just about revenge. It's about the power of being seen. Mark underestimated me because he valued power over partnership. He underestimated Grandma because he valued youth over wisdom. The moral is simple. Integrity is a currency that never devalues. When you build a life on lies, you're building on sand. But when you lead with a heart of service, like Rose did, even your smallest actions can move mountains and change a life forever. Justice isn't always fast, but it is inevitable when you refuse to stay silent. Today, I am no longer the woman who shivered in that cold conference room. I am a woman who knows her worth. Mark is still navigating the legal fallout of his innovative accounting, but that's his story, not mine. My story is about the smell of cinnamon, the sound of laughter in my shop, and the knowledge that I am finally free. If you're going through a dark time, remember, you might feel like you're being buried, but you might actually be being planted. Hold onto your truth, even if it's written on a stained napkin.